Highest score of theirs, Paul? Full ODI cricket?
255 for 6. That's another Jaffa. Like Barney said earlier on, series of 5 Jaffa. Look at that. Just got to be lucky not to nick those. Yeah, 255 for 6 against UAE up the road at the ICC Academy in Dubai in 2019, start of 2019. 49 for 8, 242 for 9. Just a few other scores above 200 so far for Nepal in this format of the game. Since they've got ODI status at least, that is. There's been a number of scores lower than 200. Lowest at 113. Which was also against UAE at the ICC Academy in Dubai.
Starting to think they've only ever played against the UAE.
That's right, yeah. They do know each other very well, these two teams.
Junaid Sadiq in that previous delivery, wrapping the pads of Paldell, but you can see it's high. Junaid Sadiq loves an appeal. Two slips in place. Third man of fine leg with 2 men out on the boundary. Dot ball. See some bags being opened by the Nepal fans to our left. I think lunch has arrived for them. Someone's just done a run. To the shop.
That's quite a good number, aren't there? Nepal fans there. Quiet at the moment, but not entirely disconsolate. Still some smiles on faces.
Brilliant from Junaid Sadiq. It's the only way to describe him so far. Mr. Maiden, 2 for 15 from his 4 overs. Nepal 23 after 7. Nepal's rise and their fandom. It's a pretty difficult story to beat in modern cricketing history, isn't it? Right up there as well.
Yeah, I think two away teams, 2 touring teams in this series. Pretty fantastic stories, both of them. Nepal, a huge following, unrivalled in associate cricket. Papua New Guinea, another great story. Fall short of the slip fielder. But UAE are probing. Kashif Dowd has been unrelenting so far. We do just get a feel that the longer the batters are out there, the easier it's going to become for them.
Yeah, the worry for Nepal will be how well they can rotate the strike and keep things ticking, because there's going to be the likes of Ahmed Raza and Ruel Mustafa to come who can really put the shackles on teams. Zahor Khan still, Basil Hamid, who's taking wickets at will during these 2 series.
Don't forget CP Rizwan. Some leg spin like he did the other day, if required, but the way things are going, it should not be.
Question for you, Paul. Who would you first throw the ball to? CP Rizwan or Garena Mala?
Wait. So wickets. I don't know if Garena Mala does in domestic cricket in Nepal. Maybe he does. Or CP does. And you can see why they tried it actually against PNG, because he's a bit, well, very unorthodox, CP Rizwan. And he does get a little bit of turn, and he has got a lot of variety. And he actually nearly got Asad Valad, didn't he? The best PNG batter. In answer to your question, Barney, only one winner, CP Rizwan.
See that ball again. That should have been a wide.
Yeah, strange that wasn't given. You could tell from where we were that he'd gone a long way to the offside. Pretty Aravin diving across to take it to his right. A close look there at the replay. It's been a wide, and perhaps it should have been.
The umpire at that end, Akbar Ali. It's his birthday today. So it came on the big screen during the break. Happy birthday to him.
Should be enjoying it. Day so far. Every LBW appeal in the first innings, which we were looking at. We had under the scanner, didn't we, Barney? Seemed to be absolutely fine on every one of them.
Chipped and gone. That is soft. Kashif Dowd onto the pads of Rohit Padel, who just chips it up to Basil Hamid, who takes a good catch low down, but that is a soft dismissal. Nepal are 4 down.
Yeah, Basil Hamid's quite close in actually. Just in front of square on the leg side, chipped up. It's a soft dismissal. Kashif Dowd is thrilled by that. This will be a good angle to see this from. Over here on it, just soft, chips it up. Very good catch moving forward. Basil Hamid, excellent stuff. The UAE, a limp dismissal for the man in form.
Yeah, poor. 21 for 4. Nepal and their main man at the moment, Rohit Padel. You can see dragging himself from the pitch. Credit where it's due, that felt like a plan from the UAE, with Basil Hamid close in at square leg and purposefully in front of square as well. From Kashif Dowd's celebrations and from Basil Hamid's positioning, that seemed very much like a plan, so fair play to the UAE.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Barney. It looked like that, didn't it? In actual fact, he was stood from our vantage point here. It looked like he was pointing at Rohit Padel as if he was giving him a send-off, but in actual fact, I think exactly as you've just described, Barney, he was saying that was our plan and it's worked. He was pointing to exactly what had happened.
And already the Nepal worm has shot through that of the UAE's. And they are very much behind the running here. They're at risk of being... we've seen a lot of teams threaten to be bundled out for next to nothing. 21 for 4. This is right up there with some of the collapses we've seen already.
Yeah, it's not been a real blowout at any stage.
But we've been close.
Yeah,
Teams have been 7 down for next to nothing.
Yep. Yeah, Gerhard, that seems like Gerhard Erasmus saved Namibia from when they were... was it 20 odd for 7, 40 odd maybe? I can't remember exactly. The start of this run of matches we've had in the UAE against Oman. Gerhard Erasmus played a brilliant innings, and his side ended up winning by over 100 against Oman.
Feels like a lifetime
Yeah,
ago.
it really does, yeah. I think it may be 2 weeks. 2 weeks max.
Janae Sadiq continues to Mala. Got to be careful there. Sadiq has got shape away from the right-hander. You don't want to be closing those hands and those wrists too much to Junaid Sadiq. There's a risk of a top edge there. Only has to straighten a nudge, and you're in trouble. Now, you mentioned this before, Paul. Mala does get himself squared up, doesn't he?
Does get himself in strange positions. Can't really come through straight.
Like that. Appeal. Leg side, you feel. Not out. Mala's under the pump here.
He really is, isn't he? He's felt like that since he came to the wicket, actually. Not just because of the situation of the game. Feels like he's at odds with his technique at the moment.
That was closer than I first thought. Still a good argument they were sliding down, but a lot closer. Those behind the wicket really liked it, especially Richard Aravind. And you'd normally see the keeper be going down the leg side, but he was actually coming straight down. And look at the UAE fielders on your screen now, swarming in on the Nepal batters. It must feel a bit claustrophobic out there at the moment.
Yeah, it really must. Especially as the scoring rate's been strangled and there's nothing to get away. It's pretty tough going for Nepal at present.
It is 4 dot balls. Start this 9th over. Sadiq into Mala, who's driving again with closed hands. It's an appeal for a catch. It was very much hit into the ground and then booted up in the air by Junaid Sadiq. But Mala has to be careful with his hands.
I think he was just celebrating his football skills there, Junaid Sadiq. Looks like he's hurt his ankle, actually. Mala did get this one cleanly. Hit on the half volley, chipped up, celebrating how good he was, I think.
That was actually a much better shot from Mala when you see it on that replay. But again, the bat face was closing. Like Paul mentioned, because of that angle, his back comes down in. Again, you see it there. The ball more often than not will be going towards mid-on, as he probably hoped to be a bit straighter with some of those. Anyway, another Junaid Sadiq maiden. 21 for 4 after 9. Nepal 182 runs away from victory. The UAE, at the moment, will be thinking they're going to be skittling Nepal out again for a low total. They're on course to do so. 21 for 4. How good have Kashif Daud and Junaid Sadiq been?
Yeah, they really have been, haven't they? Junaid Sadiq's just come down to field in front of us. He's having a few more laughs with the team analyst. He's asking if he got that bit of footwork on. Oh.
Big drive outside off stump. Arif Sheikh, the new man in. First ball, having a big expansive drive. And again, look at all those fielders on your screen. As soon as Arif Sheikh plays and misses at this outside off stump, they just flock into picture.
I think they're probably suggesting across Arif Sheikh. Would you have played a shot like that? Basil, would you have played a shot like that, Rohan, at this stage of the game?
Well, on recent evidence, I think the UAE batters don't have too much of a leg to stand on.
Good point.
I think their bowlers are more than entitled to ask a few questions, but I don't think their batters have too much of good evidence to support their own cause. And look at this. Mohamed Wasim and Alshan Sharafu getting right in the face of Arif Sheikh, making their voices known, aren't they?
Wasim there might have been saying, do as I say, not as I do. He wasn't too flash earlier on either.
Good from Dowd. It's a bit shorter this time, but the line, again, it's giving no room to Arif Sheikh. See on your picture, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 UAE players, all in picture. It's just fine leg and third man that you can't see. They are suffocating these Nepal batters at the moment.
Unerring accuracy. Kashif Dowd. Corridor between about 6th stump and the off stump. Hasn't veered from that spot.
It's just been one run in the last 21 deliveries. Chipped in the air and dropped. It should have been a 5th Nepal wicket. Arif Sheikh chipping a leading edge, the simplest of chances to mid-on. And Zahoor Khan shells a very straightforward chance.
I was going to say, Barney, that this is abysmal cricket, but I'm not quite sure it's that good. Terrible shot, and this is a poor attempt from Zahoor. UAE need to be careful. They can't let Nepal off. They might be feeling like everything is going their way, but they need to get the job done.
A let-off for Arif Sheikh. A big let-off. He has to make that count now. That was... well, I think the word I'd like to use isn't acceptable on air.
Shabal.
Yeah, it was awful. 10 overs down. End of that power play. 21 for 4. Zahoor Khan gets a chance to make up for that drop catch because he's going to take the ball. Junaid Sadiq comes out of the attack. .21 for 4 should be 21 for 5. Now it's one run from the last 25 deliveries. Shows you the UAE are all over Nepal. There's Zahoor Khan, who's just run out of picture. There at the top of your screen. Now quickly whipping between the cameras. Zahoor Khan now comes back into picture, taking the ball. He will be desperate to make up for that, won't he, Paul?
Yeah, got a feeling he's got aim at the pads and the stumps, because you can't really ask his fielders to be taking any catches, but he's going to be putting down ones like that one.
Good start. Fine leg, third man and cover. The 3 men out on the boundary at the moment. Lakra, the 12th man, running a towel over to Alishan Sharafu, I think. No, it's going to go on a bit around the pitch to Junaid Sadiq, maybe, or maybe third man. He's got a big old chain round his neck, Ariane Lakra. It was bouncing as he was running. I think he'll have a bruise on his chest after he comes back round.
Giving something to Kashif Dowd there. It looks like it's either ice pack or heat pack, I'm not sure which, for Kashif Dowd's neck. And Kashif Dowd actually looked like he was in a little bit of discomfort there. He was trying to stretch it down on the third man. His neck snap back, looking to see if Zahor was going to take that catch at the end of the last over. Ended in disappointment, didn't it?
Cut firmly into the offside, and that'll be 4. Arif Sheikh dropped off Zahor in the previous over, now sends Zahor to the fence. A very nicely played shot.
Yeah, it did actually, the ball before, have Alisha and Sharafu out on this cover sweeper boundary for just this eventuality. Ball dropping short. Might not have got to that one actually because it was behind square, but at least he had a bit more cover, Zahor, at that point. It's another loose start by Zahor. Seen this a few times in the course of this.
Sharafu's gone back out onto the fence now at cover. UAE still have their foot on the throat of the ball, but looseners like that can get batters in. Gives them a chance to, anyway.
Yeah, he's had a good chance, hasn't he, Shape, so far?
Cut firmly again, this time straight to Basil Hamid at cover. No run. Shake, man, they're on strike. Zahor, the bowler, who's just played down to third man for a single. That ends the 11th over, 27 for 4. Does look like Kashif Dowd is continuing.
Yeah, we see this, don't we, Barney? Kashif tends to bowl a lot of overs at the start, and then we don't tend to see him again after that. Doesn't come back for a spell at the death, or even often in the middle overs either. They might as well just keep going with him the way he's been doing at the moment. 2 for 6 off 5 overs so far is a great start, and he should have had a third at the end of the last over as well.
Yeah, hopefully the kink in his neck is alright. Said he might have snapped it when he looked back to see Zahor Khan drop it. Might have also done it when he threw his head up to the sky thinking, what have you done, Zahor? And he starts exactly where he left off. Another dot ball outside off stump. Dowd in again. Sheikh cutting outside off stump. He was in the air safely to third man in the end for a single. Paul Kashif Dowd has just turned 36. month or so ago. Played 12 ODIs for the UAE. Where has he been? Why is he only just now in the UAE side?
Well, unfortunately for him, he was only recently qualified, relatively recently qualified. Having spent a lot of time in the UK and elsewhere. He did a 3-year residency. But that 3-year residency ended. He became eligible when COVID had struck, so he was light on cricket, unfortunately. He has recently given up his full-time job as a coach at Sharjah Cricket Stadium. Instead be a full-time pro, so he's hopeful that help him eke out a few more years of cricket. He says he feels like he's got a few more years of cricket left in him. And he's been a great find, as you just pointed out, for the UAE.
He looks fit as a fiddle, it's got to be said.
Dodgy neck, but other than that. He does, it's a good look, isn't it? It's a great fun.